Great Texas Senator, my dear friend Ted Cruz. Senator Cruz, it is wonderful to see you, sir. I want to know about the Senate. Got to get on board. You know, even Lindsey Graham, I want to say this, Lindsey Graham, who's the budget chair, I don't agree with him on some things. I agree with him on others. But Lindsey said himself back in November, he posted on X that he was in favor of one big bill. Now, all of a sudden, he's changed his mind. But I know that Senator Ted Cruz is going to go along with President Trump for one big bill. Is that right? You're going to lead the Senate, sir?
Well, listen, I think the procedural question of whether it's one bill or two bill is less consequential than the simple point. We got to get this done. We have a task in front of us that we must accomplish. I think President Trump, at the end of the day, is going to have the flexibility to decide whether he wants it in one or multiple bills. I will say one bill, I think politically, will prove harder to get done. If you have a giant bill that you throw everything in the kitchen sink in, particularly in the House when you have an exceedingly small majority, that can be very difficult to get the votes to pass it. We saw that just recently with the continuing resolution right before the holidays. That was a train wreck over in the House. That got a little bit big and became a problem. This is talking about being the omnibus of all omnibuses. That can pose real problems for passing a bill. I think the logic behind two bills was start with a simple bill that funds border security, that makes the changes to stop the invasion at our southern border, and that addresses energy and unleashes American energy. Both of those are desperate needs. Both of those can be done on reconciliation. Both of those are relatively simple and straightforward. And both of those, I think, would be quite easy to unify Republicans and get us on the same page, which would mean we would start the first couple of months with a big win delivering on major elements of the president's policy. The tax bill.
Senator, you're just so disappointing on this. I can't believe I'm hearing this from my dear friend, Senator Ted Cruz. First of all, you're going to have certainty on the economy with respect to not only tax cuts for 15% for corporations, but also small businesses, 100% expensing, which is running out. Individual middle-class families going to need help. You've got to tell them they're going to get extensions. You leave it towards the end of the year. Here, let me take your political point. I disagree with you on almost every point here. I love this. Senator, it's all in good fun, by the way.
This has never happened.
It's all in good fun. I know. It's the first here. This is a great day for first. But look, you take a look at the CR. I agree. Let's look at the CR, which was a fiasco, okay? That should be a leading indicator of how hard it is to get anything through the House at all. Anything at all, big, medium, or small. You're only going to get one bite out of the House apple. Trust me, I mean, this is what Mike Johnson is telling people. It's a common sense position. Furthermore, you yourself, along with President Trump, promised me a middle-class boom. That was the genesis of this whole victory. Economy number one, followed by immigration, and I'm all for closing the border. You're going to have to do it. Get it done. You know what? These bills are almost written already, for heaven's sakes. You won't get what do you expect? Somebody, well, I don't want to use names, but I've had so many calls with Senate leadership. You're not going to get something in January, or it's going to take forever. That's why you may as well throw tax cuts in there. And as Mike Johnson said, you can get it done by April, maybe by May. Call it 100 days, call it whatever. Call it Trump promises kept. That's what you want. Senator Cruz, I am crushed that you're coming out on the wrong side of this historical divide.
Well, Larry, you and I agree on practically everything, so this is a first. We're having some disagreement on tactics. Listen, we both agree on the objective. We both want a big, bold, dramatic tax cut that spurs major economic growth. We both want the border secure. We both want American energy unleashed. The question is, what's the best way to do it? Look, I am indifferent between the two means, one bill or two bill. Whatever gets the job done, that's what I support. If the president decides as the days and weeks go forward that he wants to stick with one bill, that's his prerogative to do that.
Look what he said.
But I am making the point.
He said it on Truth Social. He said it on Truth Social. He repeated it on Truth Social.
I understand that, but I understand that, Larry. But I also understand seeing legislation move. Initially, people thought the CR was going to fly through, and then the conventional wisdom was the problem with the CR is it was too big and it had to get a lot simpler. It's a strange lesson to take from that instead of taking one big reconciliation bill, we should take a huge reconciliation bill because that'll somehow be easier. I question the political logic there. And I got to say, the statement that's being said, they only get one bite at this apple,
yes.
That makes no sense to me at all. We have 2 years with the House of Representatives. The Democrats managed to do multiple reconciliations. I do not believe that the Democrats are more committed to their principles or more capable than the Republicans. We can take multiple reconciliations. We'd be foolish if we didn't accomplish the maximum amount possible. And in terms of timing, look, this tax bill is going to take some time. I was here. I was intimately involved in the 2017 tax cut. You were as well. And it took many months because there are trade-offs that go back and forth.
You never should have waited, Senator. You never should have waited. I was not in the government at that point.
Well, it was you guys were the ones that waited. It was the Trump White House that waited.
No,
the Trump White House made that decision.
I'm clean on that. I was still working for another network at that point. I didn't come in until early 2018. But that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Well,
that was
the White House's decision.
Ronald Reagan was a mistake. He waited for his tax cuts to kick in for 2 years. I'll tell you, Senator, you wait till the back end of the year. A, you may not get it, so you're playing Russian roulette with a $5 trillion tax hike. B, even if you got it, another one of these Doug Flutie Hail Mary touchdown passes, it won't have an economic impact in 2026, which is the midterm election. This is what we've all been saying.
Larry, I'm 100% with you that we should pass it as quickly as possible. My point is, this is too complicated. There are too many divisions of opinions within Republicans in the House, within Republicans in the Senate, between the House and the Senate. There are too many trade-offs between C Corps and S Corps. There are trade-offs between capital gains and ordinary income. There are trade-offs between families. There's child tax credits. There's SALT questions.
It's all there.
All of those.
All I want to do is extend it. All I want to do is extend it and then add, as Mr. Trump is saying, add the tax-free cash tips.
I'm just telling you, two-thirds of the House of Representatives was not here in 2017 when we passed that bill. I spent literally hundreds of hours helping negotiate that bill. I agree we need to move, and we need to move as quick as possible. I'm just telling you these issues are complicated enough. And you know, the old line that trying to corral Republicans on one page is like herding cats. Larry, that's not fair to the cats. Republicans are harder. And so anyone who says, well, we're going to get to February and magically have a tax bill, that's whistling Dixie. I don't know what they're smoking because it ain't going to happen. We should move expeditiously, absolutely. But the reality is there are enough disagreements within the conference that's going to take a little time.
I would use your own arguments, Senator Cruz. I would use your very arguments to say you are supporting a one big beautiful bill strategy. Everything you said is one bill. Look, you're one of the smartest people I know. You can put together, you can piece all this stuff together. So much of it's been done already. Jason Smith's coming on in just a couple moments. So much of this has been done already. Anyway, I don't want to waste all this invaluable minutes on that. But I'm hoping that you'll be open to rethinking your position, because
as I said, I am open to whatever means gets the job done.
This is the first time I've really seen you on the wrong side of a key issue. So I'm sure you'll relent or repent or something.
Okay, and Larry, you will hold this conversation if 5 months from now, the one beautiful bill craters because there's too much in it and it has to be broken into two bills. You'll remember this conversation then?
Play it back? In 5 months, I'm going to be happy because we will both exult in the blue-collar boom coming from the tax cut
Amen.
bill that we passed by May at the latest. Leonard, let me move on because more mischief from President Biden. He's now taking out, 700 million acres offshore, Atlantic and Pacific, for any leasing or drilling or fracking. He's also going back and stopping anything going on in Alaska. He's using some piece of legislation that dates back to the 1950s. This is sort of the last gasp of all this climate socialism and nonsense in direct slap in the face to President Trump. You coming from Texas, you got to have some serious thoughts on this one.
Look, I got to say it is infuriating. I'm 54 years. I've never seen an outgoing president behave with such utter contempt for the American people and the voters and democracy the way Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing. They know there was a clear mandate in November. They know that the voters want to change course. And yet Joe Biden is like a bitter old man saying, screw the voters. I'm going to stick you with terrible policies. And he's trying to do everything he can to tie the hands of the incoming administration. 625 million acres set off limits for offshore drilling. I hope and expect Trump will reverse that on day one. But you look also at what Biden's doing. He's trying to auction off pieces of the border wall for $5 a section to get rid of them, just to waste taxpayer dollars. You look at the pardons he's granted, pardoning 37 or commuting the death sentences for 37 of the 40 prisoners on death row simply to prevent President Trump from carrying out federal law and executing those prisoners, signing long-term contracts with unions saying you can stay home, you don't have to go to work, you don't have to show up at federal offices. Over and over again, they are sitting there, they are bitter, they are angry, they are in denial about the election, and frankly, they have utter contempt for the voters who said, we want to change direction. Joe Biden and the Democrats want to do everything they can to keep on the same failed path that the voters just rejected.
Well, I agree with all that. So you and I are back in the saddle right now. That's important. I just want to ask you legally, sir, you're a constitutional scholar. There's some bill dates back to 1953 that Biden is relying on. It was actually a law that was passed.
Yeah.
How do you get around that? I mean, because we must get around it. You just can't start closing off the Atlantic and Pacific offshore drilling and leasing rights. But can you get around that, sir?
So look, I haven't done the specific legal analysis on that statute, but this is a presidential declaration, and I'll give you a basic principle of constitutional law. Anything the president declares, the next president can undeclare. The president does not have the power to bind the authority and decision-making of the next president. So I'm certain Trump's legal team is engaged in that legal analysis right now. But this is a little bit like, you know, somebody buying a business in foreclosure and the owner of the business going and just looting the place on the way out. Just ripping up the carpets and spray painting the walls because they're bitter and they're like, if I can't have it, I don't want anyone to have it. That's what Joe Biden is doing and is doing to the American people. There's a level of disrespect for the voters and for democracy. And of course, the chutzpah of it, because Biden and Kamala spent the past 4 years strutting around like peacocks, proclaiming they are defenders of democracy. And when the voters clearly repudiate them, they essentially say to the voters, to hell with you.
Yeah, which they've done all along. You're 100% right. Senator, I got a minute, just a minute. But this hideous, evil terrorist attack in New Orleans, okay?
Yes.
It brings back the issue of terrorism at home, and some people are quite critical of the FBI and other agencies for not having any advance warning and for not handling it very well. I just have slightly less than a minute. You have a quick thought on that, sir?
Yeah, it's a serious problem. Under Joe Biden, the FBI focused on politics, focused on going after his political enemies. They focused on being woke. They focused on DEI. They focused on everything except actually doing their job, which is stopping terrorists, going after the bad guys. One of the most important things that's going to happen under Trump is the Department of Justice and the FBI. They're going to restore their integrity. They're going to stop the weaponization, and they're going to focus on the bad guys. I've said many times on my podcast, Verdict with Ted Cruz, We are today at the highest risk of a major terrorist attack than any time since 9/11. And tragically, what happened in New Orleans showed that was exactly true.
Yes, well, John Ratcliffe, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, all first-rate nominations. I think you'd agree. Anyway, ever so much thank you, Senator Ted Cruz. One big, beautiful Senator Ted Cruz. We appreciate it very much.